Hey guys, Josh Lloyd here for your NBA first look for Tuesday for DraftKings. There's only the 5 games on, so it's a pretty interesting slate. And it's really interesting by what's happened for this first game, the Utah Jazz and the Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant is out. Health and safety protocols have ruled Durant out, so there are opportunities for a lot of these Brooklyn Nets players. The Jazz are now favored by 2.5, and the total is 228.5 points. This was a Brooklyn by 2 game before Durant was ruled out, so a big change there after that news. You got to look at someone like Timothé Luwawu-Cabarrot now. He's not going to have as big a performance as he did when both Durant and Irving were out, but at the salary that he's at, 3,700. If he gets 20 points, you're already well ahead. And if he gets 25, you're looking pretty strong in that scenario. I think Taurean Prince probably gets the other start. He's more of a 20-point player, but at 3,300. Again, not someone that we can completely rule out of using at that sort of salary. And then Karis LeVert at 6,600. Hasn't been playing that well, if we're going to be fair with Karis. But this, he's most likely not going to start. But he's still giving us around 30 a night, and there's more opportunities for him to get over that. I wouldn't say he's quite as good a value as what Luwawu-Cabarrot and what Prince are, but there's still something there for him. Gobert and Mitchell are okay. I don't think they're great. 7,700 for Gobert, 7,400 for Mitchell. That's fine. Limited upside, but solid floor, while Kyrie is at 9,300, and this really does put Kyrie into the box seat as one of the best high-priced players in the thing. He's already averaging 47 a game. He had 59 last time out. Look, he could have a 60-pointer real easy here. So a lot of value coming in here in this game between the Jazz and the Nets, and largely in part because of the Kevin Durant injury. I'm not sure there's much else we want to look at, like Bojan Bogdanovic, Joe Harris, Mike Conley's at 6,900. Maybe that has appeal, but I don't think it's a super strong one by any stretch of the imagination. The next game we look at is the Lakers. They are taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. They took them on the other day, and the Lakers beat them pretty handily here. So the spread is 9 in favor of the Lakers, with the total being 217.5. We're not really seeing the Lakers rest guys significantly in-game with these blowouts, so that is something to pay attention to. The Grizzlies, I don't know if they're going to play DeAnthony Melton. They didn't last game, but John Conchar is out, and he's the guy that ostensibly took Melton's minutes. So Melton probably just comes back into that backup role. Kyle Anderson's at 6,300. I really like that for Kyle. He's handling a lot of point guard duties. He's been rebounding the ball really well. He's averaging almost 35 DraftKings points per game. He looks good. Brandon Clark's at 5,300. I don't feel super strong about that, nor with Gorgie Dieng. And I guess you could look at Melton at 3,600. We haven't seen him yet. But as I said, with Conchar out, there is an opportunity for Melton to maybe be a 20-minute-a-night player, maybe be a 20-point-per-game guy. Tyus Jones is at 5,700. That feels a little bit too high. The big names, of course, here. LeBron is at 10,100. He is, again, questionable with this ankle injury. I think he's fine to use. He just seems to play through every game. I don't really think that there's a rest necessarily coming up here for LeBron. While Davis at 9,500 also looks like a really strong play. I'd probably prefer LeBron marginally ahead of Anthony Davis at those salaries, but I wouldn't say that it's a massive difference between the two of them here. Schroeder and Harrell, not that keen. I am interested in Desmond Bane if he wasn't up at 4,200. That just feels like maybe it's a little bit too expensive at 4,200. Although, again, the Conchar absence maybe does help Bane. Dylan Brooks is going to shoot. We know that. He's at 6,200. The numbers for him haven't been good of late. I don't mind him, but he is a GPP sort of a player rather than a guy that we want to rely upon in any sort of cash format. The next game is another rematch. It's the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. The Wolves somehow were ahead of the Nuggets in the fourth quarter last time these two teams played, just 2 days ago. And then the Nuggets won that by about 15 points. No Karl Anthony Towns. Josh Okogie is questionable, so we don't know if he is going to play. He's missed the last few. That obviously helps them out defensively, but it cuts into the minutes of guys like Juancho Hernangomez and perhaps Jarrett Culver, who had been starting in place of Okogie. Now, last time out, they did start Ed Davis in place of Naz Reid. Reid still got the bulk of those minutes because he's the significantly better player. And that starting move did not work out at all, so I'm not sure if they'll go back to that. Okogie's at 3,400. I don't know. If he gets the big minutes, then he's at least worth throwing in as a flyer, and no one will roster him, but I don't love it. Doja and Campazzo. Campazzo put up 29 points against the Wolves. last time out on Sunday. Do I believe that again? Probably not. But at 3,300, maybe we look at it. Doja, not a high upside guy. The best high price guy probably on the slate here is Nikola Jokic. At 10,800, he's getting a triple-double pretty much every game and getting 50 DraftKings points almost every contest as well. While D'Angelo Russell at 7,200. Very, very far away from his best so far. But he did have 40 points against the Nuggets, and I think he's good for your minimum 30, which isn't great at 7,200, but yeah, I don't mind him. JaMychal Green at 38 is also a nice flyer. He played a ton last game and put up over 28 DraftKings points. So JaMychal Green's someone that I don't think we should completely ignore here. That was his just his second game back, and they played him quite a bit in that one, and he produced at a really high level. Next game, the San Antonio Spurs. They're taking on the LA Clippers. They will not be with Derek White. He'll be out again with that fractured toe, which is not great. We don't know if LaMarcus Aldridge is going to play. He is questionable after missing the last few with a knee issue, while Marcus Morris is still out with his sore knee. Nick Batum's at 4,600, just literally a cash guy with no upside at all. DeJounte Murray at 68, horrible on Sunday. He shot, 8% from the field? Horrible. He's at 6,800. I think he can, I know he can do much better than that. I'm not sure that I want to rely upon it, but I know that he can be a better performer than what we saw. The fun guy, Kawhi Leonard's at 9,100. He just was horrible the last game. Just could not shoot at all. Only 30 DraftKings points. He will be better, so I'm okay with him. But I think the one that I'm really interested in is Paul George. We know he's putting up big numbers. He is absolutely on fire, averaging almost 45 points a game. And he's under 9,000. I really like Paul George at that 8,800 mark. There's not a lot else that really stands out here. Maybe you look at Luke Kennard at 3,900, but probably not. Zubats at 42, probably not. Ibaka at 56. That doesn't appeal to me. Maybe you could get excited about Lonnie Walker, but you're a better man than me if you can get excited about Lonnie Walker putting up numbers, because he just does not put up numbers. As simple as that. The highest score Lonnie Walker has had this season is 31 in the opener, and that's a stretch. I just can't see him getting back to that. He is going to get those minutes with Derek White out, but in the end, at what cost? The cost will be losing you money, almost definitely. The last game of the day, the Chicago Bulls and the Portland Trailblazers. The Bulls, of course, with all those guys out for COVID protocols, Ryan Archer-Jacquino, Chandler Hutchison, Tomas Satoransky, and Lauri Markkanen, they'll all still be out. The Blazers are favored by 10 here, and the total is 233.5, so the highest total of the day. Really, you can't use Yusuf Nurkic at this point. If there is an opportunity for someone to get back on track, it is against the Bulls. 6,400 for Nurk. Don't want to use that. Covington's at 51. No. Kobe White's at 67. Look, he's getting you 30 a night at the moment, which is pretty strong. I think that he's at least worth investigating as an option for us here at 6,700. I wouldn't say he's the best one out there, but he's at least interesting. And then you go to someone like Zach LaVine at 8,000. I really like LaVine at 8,000. He's averaging almost 40 a game, but recently, 60 points last game. He's had 240s he's been over 41 in 3 of the last 4 games. So at a price of just 8,000, I think there is real value, especially against a negative defensive backcourt like the Blazers is. Gary Trent's at 41. He's just a boom or bust guy. He could be 35 points. He could be 10 points. It all just depends on if the shot goes in, so I'm not massively into him. While Lillard's at 9,800, and that's fine, especially against a backcourt consisting of Zach LaVine and Kobe White. But Lillard has not been at his best, so I'm not willing to go too into that. While McCollum's up at 8,400, and CJ is putting up the numbers. It just doesn't feel comfortable to use him at that salary. He had 51 last game, 43, 39, 50. Like, he's putting up the scores. I just worry that it's going to drop off. I don't know what it is. His usage is unbelievable at the moment. Maybe I'm just being too pessimistic with McCollum, and he's going to be able to do that. I just don't see it. Enes Kanter had 44 DraftKings points against the Warriors in 24 minutes. He's up to 5,400. If that stayed at like 45 or 4,600, I'd be into it. But there is a risk that he just doesn't really play that much, and it doesn't really do what he needs to do. And that salary is too high, I think, to take that risk on in most sort of situations. So I probably won't get too interested in using Enes Kanter here in this one. So 5 games for the slate. Leave a comment down below, but subscribe. And also hit the bell, and you'll never miss an episode from me here and for anything that's happening on Al's channel. Subscribe, notifications. Guys, I'll see you later. Bye.